Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Phileas Foggs, and welcome to another edition of Talking Bollocks. We've got our normal guys, Pete and Mark.
I don't know how normal we are.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. Vasily couldn't join us today. I think he's got a yeast infection or something. But Brandon has joined us today, so
hello.
Welcome to the show, Brandon.
Thanks for having me.
And what are we going to talk about? Typically, we don't have much of a script for this, but we've got some talking points in our head, I'm sure. I'm going to talk about the fires in LA, because I think there's a lot more to that than just the fires. So I interviewed some Angelinos yesterday, some people from Los Angeles, and basically the whole interview was very, very basic and stuff that I already knew. But I did find out one thing that really blew my mind. Late November, early December, the insurance companies started canceling policies. Have you guys heard about this?
Oh, they've been canceling.
They started canceling insurance policies.
Before that.
And the best way to look at insurance companies, I loathe them. I hate insurance companies more than I hate lawyers and more than I hate banks. And they're all in the same cesspool of just scum, right? But anyway, the best way to look at insurance companies is like a casino in Vegas. And they're hedging their bets. They do everything they can to basically not pay out. But canceling, just outright canceling policies, it shouldn't be legal, right?
No.
Anyway, so these guys, that kind of blew my mind. So they've been canceling. And so you might ask, why were they doing that, right? But so we'll look into that real quick. It's been very little water, right? We knew the Santa Anas were coming. So basically it's dry as hell, right? The whole of Los Angeles is basically just a bunch of kindling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same reason they started canceling them in the spring in Florida, because
Right.
hurricane season was coming, and they look at risk assessment, and they go.
It's
Right.
so wrong, though. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why we
Of
have
course it is.
insurance,
Yes.
right?
Essentially
I
putting
agree.
profits over people by
That's
running
100%.
data numbers. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's probably time to give them the old Luigi Mangione treatment.
You know what? And then the thing is, they're going to put their hands up and ask to be bailed out.
Just
Right.
did this morning.
Oh, had he already?
He said he will cover 100% of California costs.
You know what, man? If they can't afford to pay out their policies, they file bankruptcy, they pay who they can with what funds they have left. They're not broke. Insurance companies are one of the richest entities on the planet.
Yeah.
And then the insurer of last resort is the state, right? Is in Florida, it's the state. I assume it is here too,
Right.
I thought
which
it was
is
the
the
person.
government. yeah,
Yeah.
no. Well, yeah,
The property owner.
Yeah. Well, you would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I heard this yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to verify it, but I heard it from a reputable source. There was this law or proposition that passed in California years ago that made it illegal for the insurance companies to look at future costs and risk.
Right.
Everything had to be based on historical data.
So how's it not being applied? How are they able to just cancel policies?
No. So they could not adjust the premiums
The rates.
to coincide with inflation. So a lot of them just left California because
Yeah.
they couldn't be a profitable business.
Well,
that
there's a
way.
lot of shit leaving California.
No, but so people are blaming the insurance companies when there's multiple people to blame, right? And politicians have a big role in that
Right.
because of how they hamstrung the insurance companies.
Right. But the insurance companies are corrupt as fuck.
Well,
They will do everything. I
yeah,
personally,
nobody likes insurance companies.
I personally, I had, when I first opened this place 17 years ago, me and Tuye were here 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, right?
Yeah.
Well, someone got a hold of that information.
Mm-hmm.
They backed up a U-Haul truck to my house and fucking cleaned my house out. And they were, and it was a decent sized house, so what they couldn't fit in, they gathered around the house and put it all in the entryway, ready for a second run.
load. Oh, no.
They're ready for a second
Yeah.
run.
Yes.
Well, I went down just, because we were staying up here because it was too far to go, you know what I mean, on a daily basis. At the end of a 12-hour day, we were exhausted, And so I stayed there for 3 nights on my own with the lights out, waiting for them to come
Yeah.
back. And, they weren't walking away from that situation,
Yeah.
And they didn't come back, so I think they knew I wasn't there. Or maybe their lookout guy was here saying, hey, Brian's not here, so maybe he's down there, you know what I mean? But they never came back. End result was the insurance company wouldn't pay us out. They didn't pay us out. So if there's any lawyers out there want to pick up this case, I would gladly go after Farmers Insurance. You guys are assholes. And I've been with Farmers I've been with farmers for 15 years.
I've got, go ahead. I've got a similar story, and it happened yesterday. I can't tell it on camera because it's happening right now. But yeah, it has to do with that.
Insurance companies being dickheads.
Well,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
and scams that on homeowners.
Well, I mean, let's talk about, is it truly corruption, or is it the byproduct of capitalism run amok, right? If they're finding loopholes and ways.
Well, that is corruption, though, right?
Right. So I mean, essentially, what comes first, right? What's the chicken or the egg?
What makes it
begets this type of
what makes it
behavior.
corruption is the motive to take those
Sure.
actions, that course of action. And 99% of the time, it is corruption. In this state, the most corrupt state in the planet, I think, or in the country. You know what I mean?
Well, the gauge of that is how much money are they making? If
Right.
they're making obscene amounts of money off
they
the
are.
backs of the people, then
Well, I don't know, are they?
that's an issue.
They're public companies. You
Well-
can easily look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And
we
I
should
don't
research,
think-
but they're definitely not making money. I mean,
Yeah.
come
They're,
on now.
they're public companies, but it's
Well.
something that is required by law you have. So it's, you know,
Right. Yeah, you're mandated
There's-
to have this hand over fist. They're making cash,
Right.
and then they're lobbying and finding loopholes so they don't have to pay people out. Similar to Brian, who this first time I've ever heard that your house was getting robbed.
Yeah.
What was the rationale for not paying?
They went into they were pulling all sorts of dirty tricks. You know, they've got my billing address, right?
Sure.
Well, they sent time-sensitive information that I needed to sign and continue the process. They sent it to a PO box I hadn't used in like 5 years. Like, why are you sending my mailing address?
Right.
And then I said to her, I goes, you know what, if you guys are going to pull shit like that, I'm going to get a lawyer. And she goes, well, if you're getting a lawyer, I can't talk to you anymore. And she hung up on me.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy, man. But so anyway, back to the fire thing, because there is a lot to unravel on this, right? And this might be the entire show today, to be honest. But we've got this, you know, Newsom's, and obviously I'm not blaming Newsom because he didn't start the fires, right?
Wait. Do we know that?
but it's a lack of
Tinfoil
preparedness.
hat out, Mark.
It's a lack of preparedness that we're unraveling here, right? So my understanding is we got this, you know, one of the things that I'm going to bring up in this subject, related or not, we've got this natural runoff that's coming down from California and all the northern side of the country, right? And it's just this natural water, very usable. It's free, right? And Newsom, in his wisdom, which is lack of wisdom, he decided to run it off into the Pacific before it got to LA. And this was supposedly to save a fish, the longfin smelt. You guys heard of this guy? The longfin smelt. Now, I'm going to say this on that. The longfin smelt has been there long before Newsom. And that water was coming all the way through. Goes all the way down to Mexico. That water's going all the way through. And the fish is just like, well, there's some water, cool. It's just hanging out, doing its thing. But Newsom decided he wanted to save the fish from something that it wasn't even concerned about. Right? Directed the water out. Now there's a lack of, but that's not why we don't have water for the fires, right? Because to say that is ridiculous, because we've got the Pacific Ocean right there.
Well, let's talk
You know what
about
I mean?
that, though. Let's talk. You can't just pull water out of the Pacific Ocean. It's salt water. You have to think about the salinity of the water and how that affects the growth of everything. You want to salt the earth to put out a fire. I mean,
It's a build up land though.
Ironically, that's what they're doing, though. That's what they've been doing.
well, you can do it in some situations, right? Firefighters
Yeah.
do use salt water here and there, but it has a much greater charge than unsalted water.
Oh, sure.
Right? So it's harder to maintain. You salt the earth, nothing grows back. Essentially, we're going to look like Arizona by the time we're done, which would probably make you
Shit,
happy.
most of California looks like Arizona.
Right. Look how fucked
No
up
one
it is
waters
already.
their lawn here, you know what I mean? No one can
Right.
afford a lot of the one, and that's my water their lawn.
And-
That's my point on like this water, this free water. They divert it off, so we're not getting free water
Yeah.
because they've got this deal set up with Colorado.
Yeah.
We're buying water, and we're getting water's a commodity here.
Well, it's
It's
been
crazy.
a commodity
Right.
since the
Come on.
50s.
And we've got
Right.
free water that we have access to, and they're not letting us have it because they want to rape us on water
And
charges.
where I will agree with you, Brian, is we have these fires yearly, right? It's an annual thing almost. Massive wildfires that spread, they're hard to contain.
Why aren't we prepared?
Why aren't we more prepared? That is a better question, right? Not some kind of, it's kind of a dumb idea to use salt water.
Let me throw this up. DEI here, right here. This is the
Which one?
fire chief. There's a fire chief, the training commander, and the assistant fire chief.
Yeah.
I think that's what her title is.
And the mayor of LA.
And well, the mayor's complicit too, right? But this one, Christine Lawson, I think she's called. Someone asked her, or someone accused her of not being able to carry a man out of a burning fire. And her response was, in fact, I'll play it right now. Listen to this.
It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or, you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire. Which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
LA is burning to the ground. They're not prepared for it. They're not doing anything about it. And this is a total lack of empathy.
Well, can I interject on that?
Yes.
I saw her in the video, and I am debating whether or not she could not carry a man out of.
She's a big girl.
Yeah,
It's
she
humongous.
is. It's a poor choice of response. Yes.
Yeah.
She didn't think, but things come out of people's mouths. Look at Brian.
Well, yeah, it was
There's
a
plenty,
whataboutism,
plenty
right?
comes out of my mouth. That
No, that's an unacceptable answer, especially for somebody
Yeah,
at her level. To say
absolutely.
what it's a whataboutism. Okay, why did he put himself in that position? Like, it's a fire.
Yeah, that's your
Right.
job, is to
Right.
pull people out of
Yeah.
fires.
Right.
Not her
That's
specifically,
pettifogging.
because
Right.
she's an admin.
She's an
Yeah.
administrator, and that's true. But essentially, even as an administrator, yes, you're not kicking the door down, going into that building, pulling somebody out. But the response, the way you handle yourself, the way you respond to that, is what's important at her level, and that was not handled well, obviously. And hopefully, she doesn't find me on the streets because she could probably carry me and
Kick your ass.
Yeah.
But,
But-
I mean, like, you know, so Pete, you have some input on the well, you know, part of it was
Sure.
the salt water, right?
Yeah,
And you've
yeah.
already
Yeah,
pulled
well,
up.
that's, you know.
But you talk about the fire.
I was
hydrants.
listening to conservative radio, and they were just railing against the Democrats and the fact that we don't have enough water, you know, to fight the Palisades fire, and it was just, they were completely stupid assertions
Yes.
of you know aliens and everything else. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it was the Democratic problem. You know, it's very simple. It's Palisades is a neighborhood, division. There are 3 million gallon water tanks up at the top of the hill that feed
Right.
the residential areas and the fire hydrants. And they
Right.
simply spent 15 hours pumping 4 times what the pumps to refill the tanks can do, trying to put out the fire until, guess what? Eventually they ran the tanks dry.
Right.
So the higher elevation hydrants
Weren't
lost
working,
pressure. Were the
sure.
ones that
Sure.
lost pressure because.
And that gets sensationalized, right?
Right,
It
well-
it was like, California's not prepared. There's no water in the hydrants. Well, that's a bullshit.
Yeah, pumping it through the lens
just
of
empty.
conservative
Yeah.
talking points. I mean,
I
let's
got-
talk about that. Conservative radio hosts and television hosts, I mean, regardless of where you stand, they constantly put out literally the dumbest shit
Yeah.
that I've ever heard. The worst
That
fucking
comes from both
takes.
sides, though.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue it on both sides. News is sensationalized. It's like the
Yeah.
WWF now.
You're right,
WWE
yes.
is wrestling. Right?
WWE.
Us against them
Yeah,
against
right,
us.
right.
But in the meantime, we have literally the most retarded people that I have ever heard delivering news to other people.
Yeah, that's
that are
an issue.
creating More
That's an issue.
retarded
Yes.
people.
We like
On both
listening
sides.
to it. Yeah, I know.
That's an issue. I mean, that these people are in a position of power,
Right.
you know. But essentially, you know, that's what we're doing. We're giving our opinion, and maybe that's their opinion.
Yeah.
It's just they don't do any fact checking. They don't do anything
No.
to verify their points, and that's why we like to have 4 people on here, because you know I might say something and you'd be
Yeah.
like, well, that's wrong because of this.
Right.
And that's why
And
we
we're
do
all
this.
able to
you know,
put
yeah.
our opinion out there, but I think that they need to be mandated and like you said, do their research first. I mean, kind of diverting off of the fire thing. Let's talk about a little bit, and it has to do with the conservative.
Let's talk
take
about
on it.
sex, baby.
Is the fact that you had those New Year's Eve attacks, right?
Yeah.
And first, the reports came out from mainly conservative news points that it was an illegal immigrant crossing a border in New Orleans.
You're right.
Wrong.
Yeah.
And that it was some sort of liberal blew up a Tesla truck in front of Trump Towers in Vegas. Wrong. And nobody really took a moment to backtrack and say, oh, whoops, like,
We don't-
fucked up.
Or
Well, I
just
think-
we
no, I
don't
think
know
they
yet.
did. We got the
It
story
was,
straight
it
up.
was, yeah. I mean, that's fair, but like it's 5 seconds worth of oh whoopsie,
But these
and
things-
fucking 3 days worth of this is the scourge.
Panic,
problem.
These
panic.
things don't happen in a vacuum.
Right.
So, like the whole, illegal immigrant thing. This truck, as far as I know, it did cross over a border. I don't know if it crossed over the Mexican border or it crossed
The
over
Tesla
the border
truck?
from. No, the other truck, the Ford.
Oh
Lightning.
yeah. There's a record of it coming over, but essentially, have you seen the videos of the attacker? Right? Have you seen the background? He's a fucking real estate agent that was born and raised in Texas.
Yeah.
So if I drove over the border
But he'd just been
and
to
drove back, they're gonna report me as a guy that crossed the
He'd just
border.
been to, recently he'd been to Egypt, and they reckon he got radicalized. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Potentially, right? But there's nothing to
Well,
back that.
No,
up.
no,
There's
not when
nothing
he's
to
dead
substantiate
already.
that.
Oh, there is.
There's
No,
nothing.
that he's been radicalized.
They
he
know
put
he's
out,
radicalized?
He put out a video saying that he was doing it for ISIS.
Oh, interesting. Well, I know he was.
But it had nothing to do with illegal immigration.
Yeah,
No,
right,
zero.
right. There was pettifogging there, right?
It wasn't.
Yeah, but I mean, there's such a rush to be
Yeah.
the first to break some news that they often get it wrong, and that happens across the board.
But look at what we're talking about now. I think back 20, 30 years ago, when we all depended on the news,
Yeah.
we gathered around and we got the facts, and now we're to the point where
Well-
we're like, well, they had to get it out so quick.
No, but we didn't have instant news until the internet.
Yeah, but this is ridiculous. No excuse, right? So we lower all of our standards because of the speed at which we need to get the information out.
Well,
That's kind of fucking dumb.
No, I think it's on us as the consumers of news to wait. So we always know that, if something breaks within a few minutes, the odds are it's totally wrong. And we all should know that.
Yeah, I don't think it's our responsibility. I mean, yes, we've got to do our due diligence, right? We've got to consider the source, right? There's definitely places that put out information that you go, yeah, fuck those guys. They're always making shit up,
Right.
Now you make a good point that one of you just made the good point that it's they want to be first with the breaking news, and that inevitably doesn't have enough facts, haven't verified enough data, and they're just putting out misinformation. You know what I
And
mean?
now the two most popular platforms are going, well, we're going to leave it up to the communities. We're not going to fact
community
check.
notes
And
now.
they
We're going to
should.
community notes.
They should, because the fact checkers were often wrong. I mean, you sit at a bar, people say the craziest shit, and
Yes.
you don't get into their face because you don't want to get into a fight, right?
Well, I agree with that, but where I disagree is here. I mean, we all come from different walks of life, right? Brian crawled out of a hole somewhere. You're a smart guy. Pete has a ponytail, and I'm the shit.
This is only claim to fame.
That's it.
I have
We
a
sit here at
ponytail.
this bar and we all share our differing opinions, but there's a personal aspect to it, right? We're looking at somebody. When Brian gives me his opinion and I disagree with it, I can look Brian in the face and I know that he means no ill will. He's my friend.
Yeah, right.
You use that internet as that screen as like a blanket, like some sort of shield, which dehumanizes the person that you're debating with, and creates all of these extra emotions that are so.
I don't do it online actually.
Polarizing,
It's,
right?
I don't know if this is a 12-year-old kid. I don't know.
Right,
I don't know anything
right,
about that
right.
person. So I have no reason in having a tit for tat debate with somebody. I say my point. If they disagree, fuck it, move on. You know
That's
what I mean? Just move on.
Right.
And I think that what you just expressed, it also applies to the bar, where we obviously know each other. We, for whatever reason, we decided that we like each other, interact with each other, right?
I like you.
So some rando comes in.
Whose hand's on my knee right now? Because I can see both of you. Knock it out. Yeah.
Somehow it's Pete.
No, yeah.
Oh, it's the midget. Oh.
But some rando comes in and he starts talking all this crazy stuff, and I just drink my beer and smile at him. I don't interact with him.
There's
My
no
name is
point.
Brandon.
There's no point engaging with because we get them in here. This bar polices itself basically, right? Because everyone's intelligent enough to not bite on some random that walks in. You know what I mean?
Well, it's different between the people who want to come in and just rant, but have no interest in listening. As opposed to the
Was he
people
saying something?
who like to discuss.
I don't
Well,
think so.
we have those within our community here.
Yeah.
Within the bar, we have people who I won't engage with.
No, I know.
Because they do not listen.
Yeah.
They just want to rant their fucking rant and not have any response.
Right.
They're in a vacuum, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, and I'm
Well,
just saying, there's no point talking to you.
I think that's kind of what you're getting online. I think it's harder to do that in person. You're right. You just ignore them. We like doing it because we enjoy expressing our points and hearing someone else's points. But if that's not it, then it's just name calling.
I think that the world's problems as it stands in the modern world are predominantly, a lot of them are created now interpersonally on the internet. But if you could get everybody in one giant pub, this is where the world's problems would be solved, because you sit down.
Well, people are nowhere near as aggressive or
No.
assertive in person. It's like road rage, right?
Right.
Fucking guy, and this guy's fucking driving, trying to run me off the road, flip me off, and everything else.
Yeah.
He wouldn't do that to me standing in line at a donut shop or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he might, because he might be bigger than me, but he'll fucking find out. You know what I mean?
I remember there was a gentleman who used to come in here who wore a really shitty hat. I won't name his name, but it was a silly argument. It was during Trump.
Well, he's a person who wouldn't listen.
He's during Trump's last presidency, and he sat out there on the patio, and he goes, "Hey, well, we're glad we got Trump, and he's not a politician." I'm like, "He's the president of the United States. He's literally a politician." politicians. And he got so pissed. And my point wasn't I'm not smarter than anybody. It was just like, no, he's a politician.
Yeah.
And that was my response like 15 times, to the point where Shitty Hat Man got up, stormed out, looked like he wanted to kill me, but he had the audacity to try and do that shit in person.
Yeah.
Now you cut that guy loose online, he's probably keyboard warring my ass.
Yeah.
You know, threatening God knows what. I mean, it's
Well, that's
true.
what I'm saying. People are just people, whether it's here or online. It's the same thing. I don't think online magnifies anything other than what you said, where there's a
They're
certain
braver.
separation.
They're braver.
It gets nasty.
I really equate it to road rage.
Yeah, I love that analogy
Yeah.
because you're in your little bubble driving 70 miles an hour down a freeway. You feel free to flip off, you know. Well,
If
we
Well,
already do.
they shit a brick when you start following them, getting off the freeway with them, you know, and they're like, "What?" I mean, not that I haven't
Yeah.
done that, you know.
No,
If
no.
you're
I
only
hate
driving
that
70, and I'm gonna be like this if you're in the fast lane.
Anyway,
Alright.
anything else?
That's
Or is
it.
that it? We're wrapping it up. Anything else on your mind that you
Nah,
want to push
you're
out?
all cunts.
Yeah.
Here's
cheers,
to-
cheers.
Here's to
Another
us.
thing, by the time we do this again, I'd like to see hair on both of your heads. I'm out of here. All right.
I just shaved mine off this morning. So.
I'm sure you did, buddy.
All right, we're gonna wrap it right there. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. Spread it out to your friends. Get this podcast out a little bit further reach, and then come back next week. We'll be doing another one.
See you
Thanks a
guys.
lot, guys, and always have a good drink in your hand. Unlike our rookie here,
Cheers.
can't pace himself.
Cheers.
Cheers guys.